One time when I was in the 8th grade, one morning I devised this brilliant plan that I was going to go to the local Acme market before I got on the bus to go to school. And I went in and I stole 2 bottles of sleeping pills. Over-the-counter sleeping pills. I don't know what they were called back then. I'm sure they were an off-brand. But regardless, they were sleeping pills. I have no idea what sparked this idea. And I had never really been in much trouble before that. But I did it. And I went to school that day. And for whatever reason, I just decided to give them away. I wasn't even taking them myself. And then some kid that I went to school with heard that I had them and insisted that I give him the other bottle of them. And again, like, terrible thought process and logic involved in this spontaneous, ridiculous idea, but I gave him the bottle. And that day, we gave out basically, I think there was like 60 pills per bottle, so we gave out 120 sleeping pills to the entire 8th grade class, or as many, whoever wanted to take them. And some people took 2, of course, at a time, blah, 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 because, adolescents, especially adolescent males, hormonal changes, blah, blah, blah. We were always looking to do some dumb shit, right? Well, that day, a record number of kids got sent home from school ill, as though there was a fucking pandemic or epidemic running through the school and nobody understood why. And then word got around that it was through sleeping pills that it happened. And so, I went home that day, no big deal. The next day, when I went into school, there was a lot of chatter that the principal and the assistant principal, they were already interviewing the common, if you will, suspects who they thought would pull off this caper. They had a list of people who they thought would be guilty of doing such thing, and I think at one point I had heard that they were going to suspend all of them or expel all of them until somebody came forward. They were pretty sure that it was somebody in this group. And so me, based with my moral compass, I knew I was the guilty one, and I couldn't allow, this group of people to take a fall for the sleeping pill thing. Not to mention, if I had allowed that to happen, I'm sure I would have gotten the shit kicked out of me and jumped by them, right? Because, on track to fucking ruining their lives through this, and I was the one who actually did it. So I just walked down to the principal's office, sat down. The secretary asked me if she could help me, and I said, yeah, I need to see, I think his name was Mr. Bowles. I said, I need to see Mr. Bowles. And she said, he'll be right with you. He's with some students right now. And I was like, okay, I'll wait. So, one of the usual suspects comes out of his office, and I don't know if he was in trouble at that point or was being suspended or whatever, and he kind of glares at me as he walks by, because these usual suspects knew it was me. And not that we were friends, but I mean, everybody sort of knew who did it, and nobody had ratted me out, which was surprising to me. And I don't know if they were willing to take the fall for it, or they were just denying their participation in it, whatever the case is. So Mr. Bowles comes out, and he looks at me and he goes, what can I do for you? And I wasn't somebody who was a regular at the principal's office. So I say, I think you're looking for me. And he goes, what do you mean we're looking for you? And I said, I'm the one who gave the sleeping pills away. And he was like, what? He was like, get in here. And they brought me into the room, into the interrogation room. And I went through the story, and I didn't give up the other accomplice, the other person who was giving up the sleeping pills. I just said, I lost the other bottle, so I don't know how it got spread around. And so, needless to say, I was a first-time offender. I'd never been in trouble before, and I got a long suspension for it, and I had to go in front of a hearing with the superintendent of schools. And I was on some kind of probationary period after that for some time. But, you know, regardless, I went back to school and got on with my fucking education, if you will. And, you know, to this day, I think about this story, and I can't, for the life of me, place or understand why I did what I did, and where the inclination came that this was a good fucking idea to do. But anyway, I can laugh about it today, and I just figured I'd share the story. Thanks.